Yep, recording started.
Good morning, welcome to the July Community Board meeting. I take it there's no apologies. Public forums, Peter wishes to speak, so Peter, welcome. Great to see you. Right.
Good morning. To some of you who may not know me, my name is Peter Priest. I'm here on behalf of the Whangamatā Ratepayers Association. This is a group that's committed to supporting the Whangamatā community through transparent communication, active engagement, and efficient operations. We are applying to the Whangamatā Community Board Fund, the discretionary fund, for support in 3 key areas: community engagement, secretarial services, and essential operating costs. For community engagement, at the heart of any successful community is a strong engagement. We want to ensure that residents, property owners, and stakeholders are informed and included in local conversations. With your support, we can run regular forums, small and larger community meetings, develop newsletters and digital updates, encourage greater participation in local planning and decisions. This helps to ensure that diverse voices are heard and that the direction of our community reflects the values of those who live here. For our secretarial services, we all know that good communication and record keeping are essential to our work. Funding secretarial services allows us to maintain accurate minutes, prepare agendas, support members of our committee with admin tasks, ensuring compliance and professionalism. This backbone of support frees up our volunteers on our committee to focus on the bigger picture, serving the community. Operating costs. While many of our members volunteer their time, we still face unavoidable costs. These are just a small list: all hire for our meetings, printing and supplies, technology tools to run our hybrid meetings, that's Zoom, or maintain our website. These are modest but essential expenses to keep our work going. I do believe we are not asking for a large amount, just enough to make our work more sustainable and impactful. Every dollar that is contributed is an investment in a more connected, informed, and resilient Whangamatā. I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to apply and for any ongoing support from this fund. So with your help, we can continue to build a stronger, more inclusive community. Thank you for your time. Listen and state my case. I'll put out a single budget. Reading here to go with. Thank you very much.
Can I just one quick question, Peter? The secretarial services, is that an outside organisation or just something you've identified? Or?
Just something I would identify, and when I looked at the budget for that, I've been very, very conservative in what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm also, aware of what this fund supports.
Yeah.
So it's not for free, and what I don't want to do is to have a big impact on the fund itself.
Yeah. No, secretarial services might be important. So need to have.
Well, the reason is we only have 6 members at this stage.
Yeah.
To take one person out to take the minutes takes them essentially out of the meeting. So they essentially don't get their voices heard to the extent that everybody else does.
Yep.
Peter, on your financial budget, is that a typo or is that a 2-year budget?
It's a typo.
Thank you. And there is a graph secretary.
Yes. Any further? Okay, thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Can I have a mover and a seconder, please, for the public forum? Dennis?
I'll speak.
All in favour, say aye. Carry. Any items not on the agenda to be discussed? Any conflict of interest?
Yeah, I do. The discretionary fund request for Harbourview.
Yeah.
Harbourview.
So you just.
I just want to know if I will walk out or I might say a word together.
Right, thank you. Minutes for confirmation. The minutes of our June meeting.
Can I suggest an amendment on page 10? We have a typo. We've got the minutes confirmed for the part-time Tairua.
Yes.
Thank you. Discretionary funder request. So we have a number of requests here. Be considered, and there's marketing works, the funding replacement for the Santas and Christmas, which we've already donated to, but another $4,000 is required to work.
Bring them up to your full complement of 22 centres.
And that's been on the list for some time now. Do you want to go through these one at a time? Or do you think we should?
Yeah,
Okay, so that one there.
so just through the chair, Eileen, is this going to be used or is this in storage? These
No,
four bits?
these will go up on,
They will go up in poles.
on poles.
Okay, thank you.
Just because of the lack of funds we seem to have and the amount of requests always overwhelming the request, I would have thought that 20 centres would be sufficient rather than the 22. So I don't see an urgency to approve that one.
I think the point was that for the price of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, price keeps going up.
Yeah, it keeps going up for them. So, I mean, they're not
I mean,
going to be cheap.
Like last year, we didn't have many, we had 9, didn't we? So 20 that we will have should be more than sufficient in my view. That's
Any other comments?
Yeah, through the chair, I think that's a good point, but it is something that I think we said last time that we would fund, but yeah, I'm easy either way. Really. I think you're right, 20 is a lot. Is it just to get 2 more?
2.
Which is the full set of what we had. I suppose it's up to us if we want to have the set back to what it was. And I mean, I think it's a good benefit for town. There's a Christmas thing, everyone knows they're there, but we're going to make that decision.
They won't be any cheaper anyway, and that was one of the reasons why we wanted to do it, wasn't it? So, okay, so any further comment on that?
Sorry, through the chair again. I think another thing, I'm looking at all these here, and my thoughts are perhaps if none of this is urgent, that we could give it to the new community board to spend some money. Otherwise, we're going to go through here and spend a quarter of money for a brand new community board that's going to come on. I don't know whether it's urgent. We could look through it and ask that. Just a thought, like maybe the new community board will go in a different direction. Yeah, just a
The security and funding one.
Oh, so are we agreeing 4,000 or?
can you put me against it?
Put it to the floor, I think.
Yeah. All in favour of the extra $4,000, say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Right, carried on that one. Yeah, the funding one, I think they want to reply for that, don't they? Because for the planning, for the new replacement to the, can that wait or not?
No, they need to secure the security guards.
Yeah, okay. So that's the necessity for that. And the discussion is how many security guards we should have for the 2 functions, bearing in mind that Aiken Road Reserve will be having a function as well as Williamson Park. So the recommendation and request from police, etc., was that there would be 12 guards this time because of the extra on them. And that would be a cost to us of $7,111 as the 20,000 for the recovery. Any comment on that?
Doesn't the promoter supposed to pay for that at Aiken Reserve?
So these security guards are not for Aiken Road. These are solely for our assets at Williamson Park. So those costs there are solely for Williamson Park, protecting council's assets and what comes from Williamson Park. There's nothing to do with Aiken Road.
So they're just pointing out the fact that there's the two functions.
Through the chair, so question I don't know if for Eileen or Dave, what I'm saying is that, are we getting extra guards this year because there's another event? Well, is it, my point is if that event doesn't go ahead, do we still need all of the extra guards? Or can we go back to what we had the previous year? But that's the best question.
I understand. Well, we did used to have 12 guards
Okay,
a few years ago.
perfect.
And then because of costs, we came back. They did function with 10 last year, but it does push them, especially when you've got 2 of those guards at the safe zone.
Okay, so we're not actually increasing it anymore. The reason that they're asking us to put money in is because the civil defence, whatever, has had their budget cut down.
So the district had $20,000 in the emergency management budget.
Yeah.
That was reduced to 10.
When was that?
That's why it's in there.
Yeah.
Regular minutes.
Yeah, I did that. I know, why did that money come out? That's the bit I'm asking.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was part of those discussions.
Sort of been in there forever, isn't it?
So I've got it through the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my question, is that this has been funded from a different fund for the security normally. It doesn't come out of this fund. And so I'm not very happy about paying the extra 2 guards. I go back to 10 and say, if they want to add more to it, they can, because this is a declining issue over the time. We're getting it better and better. And this was funded from a budget that was 20 grand that we put aside for this. And this was always in place. So why is it gone?
So the board still has the 20 grand. So in your operational budget and your contract community services budget, you still have that $20,000. And then a few years ago, $20,000 was put into the emergency management for security. And emergency management told me this year that budget has been reduced to 10, which leaves us a shortfall now of the guards.
Well, that doesn't work for us, does it?
No, but the council, surely.
Yeah, well, I don't remember this discussion, but you can tell me when this happened. I don't know.
I don't know, I'm not part of those discussions.
Yeah, through the chair, I don't remember either, but it would have been through an LTP or an it's also really likely that it was a number of them, was a part of a number of discussion points, or maybe it wasn't even flagged, but
Was it around the emergency times of Gabriel and stuff?
I'm just not sure. But we can find out the back history. But if only 10 grand's budgeted, then
We'd like that 20 grand reinstated into this business. This is what it's all about, the security around Williamson Park for the Christmas New Year period.
That's something that we can look at in the annual plan process. To get us through this year, we need the 7,000, but we can certainly look at that in the annual plan process.
I'm not supporting.
Mark?
I'm supporting what Terry's saying. You can't just sort of top money out and expect the community to top it up. I mean, it's been in place for a long time, and I think that we should be challenging that and requiring the other management fund to pay for it rather than coming out of community board funds. But that's just a straight hit on the pocket of the local community.
Yeah.
Should we adjourn this one until the next meeting for further information?
I think so. I think that's best
You
for
can do,
furthest.
but it would just mean that if you can endeavour to the August meeting, we can get some of that more information. But at the end of the day, the budget isn't there, which would mean, I'd either fund 10 guards or 12 guards. You had a presentation from the police and medical centre earlier this year about the benefits of having the security and what we do in the safe zone, etc., and the benefits for them. But it's by all means, the board can refer to this next time.
I
what I was going to bring up before Terry made his point, just that at that meeting earlier in the year, we had a really good meeting with the services. And I remember that we asked them that they give a brief report to the community as a whole, because the community as a whole is not aware of really what goes on in the town and the work that they do. So we're asking them, hand in the pocket, chuck out some money. It's all for a really good purpose, but we need to get that information out there so that the community understands what goes on in town over the Christmas New Year period. Because I was simply mind blown. It's not aware.
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, exactly the same. I suppose I come from a little bit different. I am a qualified security guard and I volunteer my time down there at New Year's Eve with some of the other guards. So I do see what happens down there. We think back to maybe 3 years ago, it was when we had the riots almost down there and jumping on the roof. That was because we did drop down what we were doing there. The council has okayed a consent to do something in Williamson Park. So whether that's on us to protect the town as a community board, I'm not sure. That's what we've got to think of, but I think we've got to be careful if we don't do it. What could happen? This is the police asking for it. It's not. They wouldn't ask if they didn't need it. So I think we've got to think along those lines, and whether it's something we can defer, go back to the actual councillors and council say, hey, why can't they fund it out of that? And if they can't, is there something we can look back at, perhaps in the new community board? I don't know if that's too late for the police.
Yeah, so we've been through this, and Dennis has all through this period of time in the last 9 years that we've slowly got this right as we're going along. The big thing that we did was put the safe zone in. And I think that was funded by the community board as an area to take people away from the park, get them right back to their parents. The police have been always on the around the park looking at it, and we bring in security guards so they're not confrontational. I think that was the deal around that we used the Maori Brigade or what it was, Maori Wardens. But that's increasing in size, and I don't think we're trying to get this as coming down less and less of an issue. So I don't think we should be putting more funds into it to particularly around this, because I thought there was money aside for this crew. I thought there was money put aside that was locked and loaded and going to happen. So a little bit surprised for me to read this in the minutes. So I would like to defer it and let's have a look into deep dive into it and see why the money went and what was it for. Was it for a short-term emergency? Was it for a long-term? I don't know.
Dean, can you see any problems with that by deferring it and getting some answers from?
Yes, through the chair, I suppose the timing of when they need to know what the budget is, Eileen would be able to comment on further. In terms of the 10 grand is there or not, if it's not budgeted, then it's not budgeted. So we can agree that we would move to put it in as a proposal for the next annual plan, but we still wouldn't have it in time. So we'd still be in a position where if we wanted to fund the extra 7, you'd still need to try and find it from somewhere. Unless there's been a project deferred somewhere in one of the business units. But, you know, it's the start of the year, so that's unlikely.
Yeah, so I'd like to move that we only go to 10 guards, and then we go back and look to see where the funding is to see if we can allocate it back. But I support the 10 guards only funded for this year.
Pending the next meeting.
Sorry?
Pending the next meeting.
Well, no, the decision is you want a decision around the guards. We're going to get the money this year, but I'm not happy to spend that extra money on the guards this year. Have to go look for the money as well as part of it. You're looking for excuse.
Don't we need an answer why it's there? That's all. Because it may be somehow it's just flipped over the wrong way and come back again. We don't know.
Well, I think Eileen's saying it's locked and loaded, so you're not going to get the money this year.
We don't know until we told us that.
Is that right, Eileen?
I was just told from the emergency management team that the budget had been reduced to 10,000. How I can definitely go back to emergency management, find out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that's the case, if we can look back into it, I would have thought it'd be locked and loaded then. Okay, so leave it, defer it.
But you'll have time to get back to emergency services if we defer it 1 month, 6 weeks?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, whatever has happened, that as Dean said, that budget is not there and it won't be there. They won't be able to get it from somewhere else, which means that the money is not there to fund the 12 guards. So you can just choose the 10 guard option, of which you do have funds for, and we can confirm the 10 guards.
Yeah.
If we find out that
We could add 2 more to it.
we can bring it back to August to fund the other 2. So I can let security know to confirm 10 with the option of coming back after the December meeting for another possible 2.
So I'll be happy to move that we go to the 10 guards.
Okay, so moved by Cherry, second.
Now, I was going to say, can we have a bit more discussion?
Yep.
I just have a question over the council assets. Are they self-insured or is there an outside insurer that insures them?
For what?
Well, you say that to protect council assets.
Yeah, they're insured, absolutely.
They're insured.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So we're paying twice then.
What?
We're
Well, they've
paying
got a-
insurance
they've got
and
a-
we're paying-
I think it's $25,000 excess, but they're insured, yeah.
And it's not just that, it's the behaviour
Yeah.
of the youth with
Yeah.
our assets.
Yeah.
That the guards are there to protect, which
It's
is
quite a small area though. And if you've got 10 security plus police, surely that's.
so 10, so 2 of those guards, so there's only 8 in the park, 2 are at the safe zone.
And also, I think it's peace of mind for the residents and that in the area too, because a couple of years ago, we had trouble with bottles being thrown and everything like this, and it really upset a lot of the residents in relation to that. So the fact that these guys are here and they see them in the uniform is peace of mind as far as that's concerned. So if we can just go back just to,
Yeah, I made a motion, so if it's
Yeah.
second, it should go to the floor and then we discuss.
yeah, so Terry's got a motion on the floor. Has he got a second for it?
Yeah.
I'll second it. Okay. So all in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Right. Just to go back on the first one, the money that we gave for the Sanders Institute, can I have a movement seconder on that, please?
Yeah, happy to move.
I know we didn't get a movement second, we only got that U2.
Oh,
Yeah. So Terry's moved it. Have I got a seconder?
We can't see it.
No, you can't.
Okay, I second it. Right. So moved and seconded. All in favour?
Aye.
Against?
Gary, you with it?
Twixt and between, I just really,
No, we're talking about the centres now.
Centres.
Come back to the centres?
Yeah.
Just moving and taking to the centre.
You're in favour of that or not?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 2 against for the centres. Okay. Now, in relation to the Whangamatā CCTV, so do we want to word that now, saying that the 10?
Yeah, that's it. We're going to go with the 10
Go for the 10
and then look into some
and further
funding.
discussion
Yeah.
required to decide whether the 2 extra.
We'll find if the funding's available to consider the 2.
Happy with that, Chair. Now, the next one is the Whangamatā CCTV. Now, that is for 12,000. Now, this has been around for 6 years.
Yeah.
And it's whether we approve it at this meeting or adjourn it to the new one. But if we do adjourn it, you're probably not going to get a reply on this until the new year, eh?
Yeah.
So is there something that?
Well, I just would like to speak to it.
Yep, sure.
Absolutely. We sat down and did this going back again when Dennis really brought this to the table and we did our CCTV cameras around town. We really wanted to put that at the entrance at Whangamatā, but because it was line of sight and carry on, and they couldn't get the okay to put it anywhere except into this little, I think it's a real estate. Yeah. Which was ridiculous. So there's been continual concerns about people saying it's not valuable where it is. It doesn't attract properly and to put it up into the entrance of town, so it picks people going both ways. I think the fire brigade was keen to do this. Everybody's keen, and now I see the police have asked for it to do it, so we just got to do it.
Yeah.
Just got to do it.
It's the best security you'll have.
Yeah.
Right, so all in favour of the $12,000 for the completion of the security cameras at Only Man, say aye. Against, if any? Carried.
Second.
Moved by Terry, seconded by Gary.
Put it again.
Whangamatā Harbour Care.
Do you want me to leave?
Just simply name it. Whangamatā Harbour Care have applied for 2,134. Seems a mere pittance for the amount of work that they do in relation to it. Who wants to speak to it?
Well, I'll move it first of all. You get a seconder, then you can speak to it.
Sorry, I can speak to it.
Have we got a second?
He wants to speak.
No, normally you move the motion, you second it, then you open it up for discussion.
You move it. You second it.
Yeah, but yeah.
Okay. Now speak.
So I think these two, which is the two that are applying for administration costs, could perhaps be put to the new board to decide whether that's what they want to fund. It doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it's $6,300 out of the 90 just to fund community organisations to do their administration. It does add up, but that's not the only ones. If we do these two, I think there's about three or four more come, and then all of a sudden a quarter of your money's gone for administration. So I don't support them, but I would like to see what the new community org does in the next 2 meetings away.
Any comment on that?
Yeah, I'd agree with Dennis. I think the new board needs to deal with these more routine ones that are not hanging over from 6 years ago or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Jerry?
I support this and funding it now. This was money that we requested to put into the grants for the funding of key local community groups and their administration, so they continue. They were all struggling to find treasurers and secretaries and things like that. So that money was actually added to the grants back several years ago to support this. So I support this 100%. In fact, what we give them is very little. And I'll speak more about the next application. And I think that this is a drop in the bucket for the effort they do to town and things they do. They do it all for a volunteer group. No one's paid on the group. They front and they clean the harbour, clean the beaches, look after it, and we would be paying millions of dollars to somebody else to do their work. So I support this 100%.
Can I ask Mark a question in relation to this?
No.
I can't.
No.
I'm not here.
No, it's not here.
Well, perhaps I'll raise it to the board. There's a $764 amount for an insurance, and I wonder what that insurance would be for. I don't see why an organisation like that would need to. They probably don't have physical assets of such for.
They have to have insurance when they go out in the harbour to meet the regional council's obligations, health and safety.
Insurance for public liability.
Yeah.
What could they do that would be?
Well, you asked WRC.
Sorry. One more through the chair. So Terry, you say that money was added into the 90, but we've got 90. So what we've got 90 doesn't. How do you mean added in?
We added $5,000.
So it was 85.
No, it was 45 when it was added, not 85. So we increased the grants because of the continual numbers of people requesting it. And when it was $45,000, we added $5,000 to help local key organisations, key ones, like the ratepayers, like the business association, like Harbour Care, to maintain their committees so that they could provide feedback to the community board and provide the activities that they provide for nothing.
Wasn't that a one-off for that year when we got it?
No, it's been every year. Every year, added in.
They added to your community grants, wasn't 5,000, that was for Shane.
Oh, 15,000, that's right.
45 to 60,000.
Yes, 45 to 60,000, $15,000, sorry.
Well,
But it wasn't earmarked specifically for that. The budget was increased to that amount.
Due to the fact that it was to support local clubs and organisations. It was called the club package at the time.
through the chair. So you also mentioned in that, they're all volunteer and it won't be paid, but we're actually asking to pay people in this. So we've got to decide whether the community board wants to pay secretaries and treasurers and all that now. If that's something we want to get into, where does it stop?
So your old community grant policy had a criteria, and that criteria specifically stated that grant money was not to be used for wages or honorariums. So we're actually going through a new grant policy at the moment, which will have that in it as well.
Because my other fear is, this is only two. I think there's 4 or 5 or 6 that come along. And if they're all $4 grand each, it's a lot of money. So
It's a lot of money. It's nothing. The $24 million area.
I'm talking about the 90. If we're only talking about 90,000, not the rest. If we do,
I'm just talking about the activity these people groups do to the town is minimal in terms of the benefits they bring to town, minimal. For the actual activity that they provide the ratepayers to contribute $24 million of that back into the council's coffers to make the place work. That's nothing, absolutely nothing. So I'm really disappointed if this is not supported, because there is a whole lot of clubs involved with this, not just one. It's a real key thing to town to have these clubs. They shouldn't be there worrying about administration and worrying about their accounts. They should be there doing the job around the town, which is what we want them to do, and that is actively do their community groups activities to make sure the town is presented and managed in a way that we like it.
I don't think their work or anything is disputed by anybody, Terry, but I think the point that was made here was the fact of whether this committee should be the one that decides for it or the new one.
Okay, so I'll tell you the point. So when I sat back 2 or 3 years ago, the enterprise Whangamatā was Dennis, Jenny Black, and about one other.
Yeah.
Failing. What happened was the government came along and gave them $75,000, not $4,000, $75,000, and made that organisation work. They had money, they could talk, they got people together, and now it's an active group. If these groups don't get support, they'll just fold. And then what do we do? We've got to run around and do that job. So what we're saying here is that these people are doing this job for pittance, for nothing. And all we want to do is support them with some administration costs so they can do their job. Don't have to worry about rushing around trying to find a person to do the accounts, to do the secretarial work. They can focus on their job, and that is to look after community assets. It's not a hard decision.
Right.
I'd like to give them $75,000, but we can't.
Yeah, I know you would, but we haven't said that.
No, we haven't got it, so we had to get the government to give it to them, so we couldn't do it.
Okay, so we have a move and second for it. All in favour of this payment being made to the Whangamatā Harbour Care, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carry. And the next one is for the Ratepayers Association for the 4,200 that Peter spoke with.
So I'd like to move this one.
I'll see. I can talk now.
So you seconded, so moved by Terry, seconded by Mark. All right, so any discussion in relation to this one?
Yes.
Yep.
Just in line with policy that was discussed before, I would suggest that the approval ought to be for $3,000, because they've asked a payment for secretarial services of $1,200.
Yep.
And if we to be consistent in our policies, then we shouldn't be funding that wage.
Okay, so do you move that?
Yeah, I moved that the amended to 3,000.
All right, seconded for that. I'll second that. So the $3,000 for it. So
Can I just ask a question about
Yeah.
the policy? So you say that it's an existing policy, and I know they would keep on referring to writing a new one, which we've waited for about 18 months for a new one, but
So this is your discretionary fund.
yeah.
That didn't have a criteria, but your community grant policy did have the specific statement in there that it wasn't funding wages on areas. Now that community grant fund was added to your discretionary because your discretionary was only 20,000. So your 60,000 community grant money was added to your discretionary and council gave another 10. That's why you now have 90. So there is no policy or criteria at the moment, but the new one will be coming in.
Yeah, the new one's just about ready to be workshopped with the council, and then go out to the groups, check that they're comfortable with it,
Going to do it around.
and then be adopted. The important point about what Eileen was just making was that the council decided to treat, although they brought them both together, they decided to treat them as a discretionary grant. So therefore,
So we're not bound by the policy.
No, you're not bound by the policy.
you're not bound, although those two pots have come together. And yeah, so the new board will probably very early in its term have a new set of policies, and you'll be able to sit down, workshop, think about what that means for some of the groups.
So we're going to go to council this year with it or next year?
So August, it'll come to council. If you guys are happy with it, we'll then take a decision to go out and do targeted engagement with people that have applied for grants over the last few years. And then depending on how that goes, we'll adopt.
You'll find that through the chair, that the ratepayers associations across the district will be looking for support for administration.
Is it positive or negative?
It's positive because
No, that's what I'm trying to, how you were saying to us.
Yeah.
That's cool.
so it's positive for mine, and I just want to speak to, if I can, to this. Is we're doing the amendment at the moment, so to discuss the amendment that this is not policy, so this is just up to the board to decide the grant as it stands. So the Ratepayers Association, a really important organisation. They represent the $24 million of rates that we got in this area. So having them working well with us, communicating with us is a key component to making it work. If we've got them struggling and fighting and carrying on, we have issues here. It is not good for the community to have that. So I promote the fact that we support them as much as we can to make sure they're a strong group, similar to what the enterprise Whangamatā at the moment. It's got some legs and it's got some voice, and we want the ratepayers to have the same voice at the table. And this is right around the district. You'll find now with the changes in government's vision, there's going to be a lot more localism come around the board, so the boards will have much more focus what's going on, and making sure that that money is spent in a way for facilities for the community. So I certainly, first of all, support that this is funding for the right things. So I speak against the amendment.
So we put it to a vote. All in favour of the $3,000, say aye.
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 Okay, and against? Carried. Right, $3,000. They can come back.
That becomes the motion now. You've got to put it again.
Okay, so the motion is that we pay $3,000 to the Ratepayers Association at this stage for what they're asking, and I point out, Peter, that can come back afterwards for the new one to ask for it. All right. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. See you later. The next on the agenda is the right of renewal for a rental review for the Whangamatā Rugby and Sports Club Incorporated. So the recommendation is that the Whangamatā Community Board, one, receives the right of renewal for the Whangamatā Rugby and Community and Sports Club Incorporated report dated the 18th of the 6th, 2025, and recommends to council that it approves the second right of renewal of 5 years from the 1st of September 2025 to the 31st of August 2030 to Whangamatā Rugby and Sports Committee Incorporated for the lease of part of the recreation reserve located at 309 Lincoln Road in Whangamatā.
So moved.
I second.
Can I just ask Dean a question? There's a policy that council is looking at for all these areas which council own and people lease, that this is not going to, doing this won't affect that.
No, through the chair, what the council is talking about is the policy that we have around leases. We've just started a review of all of that, but that will inform those upcoming leases or how we approach leases in the future. There's still going to be a period of us turning over our leases as they are. So
This is just for the club rooms, this lease.
yeah, it is, but the policy will look at
Yeah.
all of the leases that we've got, lots of different types of lease arrangements.
I'm happy with it.
All right. So can I move and second it for
I
the,
moved it.
you move it, second by, so all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Thank you, Board.
Yeah.
CAPEX projects. Good morning, Luke.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, so through the chair, just wanted to provide you with a little bit of information in regards to the CAPEX this month. You'll note that in the cover report, we've just stated that there is no new projects for Whangamatā this new financial year. So we've got a number of multi-year projects that are going on that have already started, so they'll carry on, as well as our standard renewals, which refresh every year. So that's what's on the board and coming up. We also have a one-pager attached in regards to the Whangamatā former improvements on Hetherington Road. And I just wanted to give you an update. Since the report was written, we had listed in there a risk in regards to potential delays due to the power. That has now turned into an issue in the last day or two, where we've working with PowerCo to try and resolve and get a commencement of works on Hetherington Road. So we've yet to start works because we need to get PowerCo on board with some of the underground infrastructure that they have. So we're actively working through it.
Through the chair, would that not have been something that would have been checked first? I mean, it was pretty obvious we were going to dig for the tender for the job, or anyone else not realise that you were going to dig right by power lines?
We knew that. We didn't know exactly where the power lines are, and we engaged
Underground lines. Yeah. But I agree with you, Luke,
Seems
through the chair,
yeah.
that this was raised in the early stages when they were looking for it and they wanted to identify it, and obviously hasn't. It's disappointing.
Yeah, we are reliant on obviously information from the asset owner, which is PowerCo.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
Do you have a theory of how long your delay might be? Is there any indication of that?
No, there isn't. We're dependent on PowerCo, but we're actively engaging to try and make that as fast as possible.
Through
Through the chair, just on that one, it was ground penetrating radar. It was all the assets have been located. Throughout the process, there's been a lot of communication with the PowerCo. This is a different thing in terms of location. This is more like how they actually want us to deal with it. And yeah, so the conversations have been located, the conversations have been had, but how they want to deal with it is kind of comes from them, not from us. So the whole process, they have been engaged. When it comes to them making their decision on it, that's what we're waiting on now. Yeah, definitely not from the consultants or TCD
and the contractor trying to push this project and get these assets. So it's not locating them, it's more how to deal with them in terms of people on the ground.
Will this be a variation to the contract?
In what regard?
Cost.
Construction contract?
Financial.
The financial cost for this to relocate and
It's unknown at this point because the time will be the impact. So right now, we've got a contractor that's set up and established who are now unable to do work. So if that drags on, there could be a cost implication.
which is of concern. So, you know, I just want to speak to this, like we went to the blessings, we had the drama, we met Chick, we met the people that was involved with it. They talked about this and they said that it was under control, and now we hear it's delayed. So it's really disappointing to hear that, really disappointing. You're right, it would be good to tell them who the contractor is, after I've said it, so, you want to?
As in Chick?
Yeah.
Just let the rabbit out of the hat. So, yes, the contractor got awarded the work with Chick, and our team and the consultants are working well with them to, try to mitigate the issue that's been arisen and resolve it. But they're a good operator.
Yeah, big operation out of Hamilton, I think, aren't they? I think the key thing about too, they're going to do it in stages, they're going to be quite a bit of traffic management. Most probably best to go around the block in some cases, if during the day it'll be pretty busy, won't it? So they'll do stage one, I think in 3 stages they're going to do it. All right? Yeah, so it's going from a 600 mil pipe to a 900 mil, 800, 900. So it's pretty big, and it's going to have a wah stop on the end. Is that the right word? Wah stop. Yeah. So come back there from the incoming tide up it. So yeah, it's quite a big project, and
there was comment by some of the residents about apparently the traffic management report was 93 pages, which seems a hell of a lot of pages for one road. You've got alternative roads that can feed traffic either side. So there was a comment made by them that, you know, what did that cost for traffic management payments such magnitude?
So I guess the key element is that traffic management is always a decent cost to any project, especially one where you've got quite a lot of traffic management happening. It's a busy road. It's not a simple quiet street with a closure at either end. And traffic management as a project cost is significant, no matter what. The engineer's estimates were way above what we actually got it for. I can't disclose figures because it's commercially sensitive at the moment, but it is a significant part of the project cost.
very significant. And just to add to it, they've got their in-house own traffic management unit, which is a benefit really. They've got their own in-house. Chicks have, yeah. So a big operation.
Through the chair, just the questions I've also had from the public is question number 1 is why did we start that end of town first when the flooding seems to be down the other end? It's a public question that we've had.
I said to Kate, and perhaps Brett's online as well, so that's what it's
You always start
Morning, Brett.
I think that answers it. Good question.
So through the chair. So is your question regarding the Hetherington Road project, why did it start at the top end of the pipe?
No, sorry. So I've had members of the public come to me and ask why are we starting Hetherington Road? It seems to be the Williamson Park end of town is the main flooding problems. They pointed out that I don't know any houses that flood along Hetherington, and I certainly don't know any at the end of Port Road. But we seem to have had the major flood problem down by Williamson. I've been asked by a couple of people to clarify that, and I don't know the answer. So
Through the chair, that's not a simple answer and explanation. However, Port Road network is in catchment as one of our largest catchment. It does have significant capacity issues. The existing pipe is actually 375 mils at the roundabout with Hetherington and Port, and then it goes only down to a 375. This is being replaced from a 900 to 1,000. So that encompasses a lot of the main road. It comes down Hunt Road, captures.
Aiken and Casey.
It's quite hard to talk about it, but there's actually quite a lot of flooding on Hetherington, but also the surrounding areas of basement. It might be easy to explain more in an image, but there is a lot of flooding around there, and we do get flood impacts from there throughout the issue in Whangamatā is there was multiple locations that are just as deserving for capital works flood mitigation. So that's, I guess the question is what do you pick in terms of who gets the money? So to do that, we had 19 options over 6 catchments that we looked at.
We all reviewed them, didn't we?
We reviewed them, we went through a matrix process, we had our stakeholders involved, and then we came down to our priority list that was developed by the stakeholders, and then from there. So one of the things is we need to do the outlets first. One of the issues for that area, like if you're thinking Kiwi Road, Tui, Williamson, is the outlet is one of the issues on there. So those are actually part of the second and third, fourth, this is a 6-year project. Those are on the priority list.
Yeah.
They are in the top, within these projects of the next 6 years scope. It's for works in those areas and stuff. But some of the solutions for those involve works potentially on the golf course, which is something that's going to require a lot more things than we need to know because it is our asset, but we have at least one placeholder on it. With this, yeah, it's one of those things. And it's real hard because there's also flooding down by the school. There's also flooding over here on Winifred and Barbara. So there's a lot of issues.
I think so. Yeah, that sort of answers it, but I think it's conflicting to what we were told at the last one. Is we were told the pipe would go down there, and it didn't really affect any other roads around it. So now you're saying all the roads do feed into that.
Yeah. Even for your lunch break, we can bring up the GIS, then we can bring up the flood map. We can just have a look and have a.
Is that public stuff they can look at online that I can point them somewhere to it?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you can give me that, like I say, I've had some public ask me. I think that's a great answer. It does feed into all that because I think last time we were told it didn't. We were told that it was literally to do that big pipe and it took the import road and nothing else. So, but
no, it takes it's probably our biggest catchment in town.
Perfect. That's what the answer we need.
Just the working group put their preferences down, and the preference that came up all the time was to go down to the marina side of that. And when they reviewed that and did the modelling on it, they found that Hillingdon Road would get far more beneficial. So that's why they've chosen it.
That was the summary for me. If there are any more questions, ready to answer.
Yeah, I got one through the wastewater. We can do that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so the rising main, if you just explain that that is not part of the waste stormwater project and it goes a different way, would be quite.
Correct. So prior to coming to the project team, it was called Hetherington Road Rising Main. Not really well named because it's not even Hetherington Road where the works are happening. There is no intersection between the two pieces of work. So the Rising Main work is on adjoining streets, not on Hetherington Road.
Different good.
Through the chair, if I could just make a comment. The reason it was called Hetherington Road was originally we may have had to take the new pipe all the way back to Isabel pump station, which meant we would have gone across the bridge on Hetherington Road. So that's why it was called that. And also the connection where we are now connecting is the little park where the heliport is on Hetherington Road. That's the background why the project was called that initially.
Thank you, Brett. Appreciate it. Any other comments?
Just the Port Road toilets. How are they going?
Really easy to see just outside here. They've gutted it out. It's fully underway and
On track?
On track.
It's not cool. No, don't no hurdles.
No, we identified a staving. So we assessed the roof condition once everything was pulled apart. It's actually got quite a good remaining life on it, and so we've made a call not to replace the roof.
Awesome.
Just to do some renovation work with the existing new paint job and the like. So we're saving about $20,000.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Luke, with that, is it vandal proof the construction now to a large degree? And my reason for asking that question is whether in fact that toilet can possibly stay open 24 hours a day because of its location once these have been done.
So it's commercial grade. So which means it's as tamper-proof as it can be.
Yep.
But that will not detract people from still damaging it.
Yep.
And so there is no guarantee that you could leave it open. And it's very much down to the behaviour of those in the area.
I think it was fire was the main problem. They keep lighting it up.
Yeah,
Why was that
that was plastic, I don't think that was.
All of us, we had them like 3 times in one season, wasn't it?
Just through the chair, there's a little health and safety thing out there. There's a water line that was put across the cobbles towards the information centre out there that came out of those toilets. And it's never been done properly. And a lady tripped over the other day and there was a bit of a drama over it. So I didn't put an RFS in to talk to her, but if they could look at that at the same time, maybe if it's.
It had nothing, the line here,
Yeah.
had nothing to do with the toilets.
I know, but it's, could you get it fixed at the same time?
Well, we just got an RFS in for that, but that had nothing to do with the toilets, was the isolation valve between our office here and the information centres.
That's been there for about 3 years.
They do keep filling it up, but it keeps sinking.
But so I guess the simple answer is the project scope is approved and we want them focused on delivering the bigger outcome of the toilet. I think if there is an issue there, it does need to be logged as an RFS and be handled through a different funding.
Okay. Had a few, but we'll put another one in.
Okay. Any further comments?
Just parks and open spaces.
Still getting complaints about street lighting replacement. Apparently there's one on Diana Drive, I think it was, that light's been out for about 5 months. The person's rung several times about it. They'd been told that, yes, we're getting onto it, yes, we're getting onto it. Nothing's been done. So, is that your department or?
It's not my team, it's the roading team that will be managing that. What you'll see in the report today is a lot of blue complete because obviously this is June, the end of the financial year. So next community board meeting, you'll see a refresh of the new year's projects. So there'll be a new renewals for streetlights available. And so the roading team should be providing an update in the next meeting around here is what we intend to be delivering this year with the available budget.
Apparently this light went out during a storm where it just flicked on and off and went out. So it's probably more apparent to be a bulb than anything else, but it's taken a lot to get it fixed.
We can take note of that. Follow up with the grant attention.
Just another one, just around the parks and reserves. First of all, just to our right here, we've got Chris Rutherford, who's our new parks and reserves gentleman. So just to keep you informed with that. We note that there was some work done at Island View and some platform stairs to go over there. There was a drainage issue over at Island View around the water coming from the shower. And that was raised last time, and they were going to do some work when they had a chance to try and control that water running across the park and it turns to algae. You can just give us some heads up, or maybe Chris can put that on his list to do.
So I guess through the chair, the key thing to note is remember that council made the call to fund the additional budget required for Port Road toilets out of the renewals budget this year, which means you've got very little available from a renewals perspective, around $40,000. But if we realise that 20k saving, then it's up to around $60,000. We had a meeting with the parks team yesterday to look at the renewals planning for the year. And so we actually can see Chris taking a note. So we can add that into the mix as part of that process of our renewals plan.
Well, they did say that we're going to do something. There was a plan in place.
Yes.
I didn't see it. Okay.
Anything further in relation to this, the CAPEX?
Well, I noticed something about the plunging of Williamson Park. Is there further plunging to happen?
That's a good question. Brett's on the line and he might be able to answer that one.
Through the chair, yes, we will be doing some more planting. I'm not sure of the exact date, but we will inform people when that is occurring. There was talk about getting a local group in to do all the planting for us rather than a public one.
I believe your planting season's kind of spring now, so there'll be a little bit of a delay. We're putting more plants in the ground.
Brett, is that working successfully, that planting? Are you happy with how it's going?
Look, I'm through the chair. I'm sorry, I haven't been to look at it except after it was installed. But if you like, I could get Kate to come back in and talk to you about it.
That's right. I went down this morning and had a look at it, and it looks like it's taken on quite well.
Oh, good.
Just wondered
All
the
right,
effectiveness of it, whether you'd heard anything in relation to that.
Through the chair, no, I think the plants have to bed themselves in. They're very resilient plants, and they will slowly grow and work correctly. The beauty of those plants is that when we do get a water flow, they get knocked over, so the water flows through. They're not actually hindering the flow. They allow the water to flow past them.
Thank you, Brett. Any further on the CAPEX? I have a mover and seconder for it, please. Moved by Terry, seconded by thank you. All in favour, say aye. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. The project summary in relation to stormwater. Brent, going to speak any more to that or not?
I think they just speak to you.
Yeah, we've asked the question.
And now we've got the action schedule.
I've already asked the question about when it's in part planting, so.
Yep.
Who's speaking to the Beverley Terrace? Is somebody speaking today to that?
Then put into your networking.
Networking,
Do that networking. Okay, and Williamson, you're satisfied with that? It shows as being closed on here, but apparently there is more to be done. Chairperson's report.
You will receive that.
Oh, the action schedule, could I have a mover and seconder for that, please?
Second.
Thank you. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Verbal chair report. Little over a week before the nominations close for council community board positions to take place, it is hoped that a number of suitable applicants apply. There has been a concern from some residents as to the 93-page traffic management report for the replacement of Hillington Road. Also of interest were the 5 iwis that are involved in relation to the reconstruction and also of the monitoring of the project. And the question asked by some was it necessary that this monitoring take place? And also, is this the start of occurring of future projects? And if so, what price increases will be brought about by this monitoring of it? I'm aware that there are some residents attempting to have delays on the project prior to discussion. And this isn't referring to what Luke said this morning, which we found out in relation to power cut. But this matter has been investigated for at length by a number of engineers, and I consider that this discussion time has been completed and the project should proceed. It appears that the Poole Road toilet block has proceeded in pace, and you can see that that's moving along well. It will be great to have the completion of this overdue refurbishing. Our next meeting will be the last in relation to this community board, and it's hoped that there will be a full complement to be available to attend that meeting. Thank you. Thank you. Do I have somebody to second that? I move somebody seconds it. All in favour, say aye.
Can I just make a comment to it, Dave?
Yeah.
I think actually Dean will be better than I am. Dean organised the blessing on the day, and one was a key issue that came out of that blessing was that they were going to, any monitoring that happens as part of the contract and is in the contract, letting the Gilbert family under Ngāti Pū to do that, which we thought was impressive. But if you want to comment on it, Dean?
Yeah, through the chair. So the project team actually arranged the monitoring. They went out in February to the iwi that hold mana whenua in the area to see who'd like to be involved. That is normal for a project where there's earthworks, where there's sites of cultural significance. So two of the iwi came back and said that they would be interested in monitoring. So it'll be Ngāti Whananga and Ngāti Pū. But there were other iwi that came to the Karakia because they were interested to make sure that the blessing went well and just support the other iwi. So it was a good morning. Yeah, I think that's.
But the iwi recommended that Gilbert always do the monitoring in the end. Is that right?
Yeah. So the original respondents to what the project team put out was from Ngāti Whananga and Ngāti Hako. But on the day, Ngāti Hako and the other iwi that were there supported Ngāti Pū, who are based here locally, to pick up that monitoring role.
Through the chair, so a question on that once again, people from the public, because it was in the paper about that. Was two questions: was the cost of blessing and the monitoring, and then if you read the report, it says there's no sites of significance along that. We're only ripping up the same pipe as we were ripping up, so why would we need to monitor it now if we've not been in there for 30 to 40 years?
I think there was anything new that they don't, the things that existed, but there's anything new. There was some new area we're digging under.
Yeah, so through the chair, so it's not monitoring of the whole area, the whole pipe. It's monitoring of the area that is down where the reserve is near the marina. So it's the new earthworks in that location. Generally, where there's existing earthworks that happened and you're replacing something with a bigger something, then you wouldn't, you're not creating new earthworks. So it's the area right down right down the end.
So the pipe's already in the ground, they're just making it
It's a new
That's by the Ocean Sports Club, that area of the.
By the bridge and the marina.
Yeah.
That area is
the pipe's already in there, we're just making it bigger, correct?
No, moving away from the.
Well, down the east, it's almost exactly the same price.
Hang on with that.
Yeah, can I ask you, Dean, what do you mean by monitoring?
So earthworks monitoring.
Yeah, what's monitoring mean?
Yeah, so it'll be turning up on site, looking for evidence of archaeology, middens.
So if something like a midden is found, does that put a stop on the project? So
there'll be procedures written in to actually look at that, see what it is.
Okay, so any contract that is earthworks like this have an accidental discovery protocols written into the contract, and there are clear guidelines on what we're to do should we discover anything. And so having cultural monitoring on site enables us to have somebody that from the local iwi who can identify when we have discovered something, and that then triggers those conditions in the contract.
And I think that just to add to Luke's saying, shifted in doing some work over the Thames side, and the ship area manager spoke clearly about the protocols that they had to follow and sort of procedures that they knew all about and did regularly. So it might really surprise us.
Through the chair, one more. So do we pay for the monitoring?
Yeah, we do. Okay. So there's a payment for iwi participation policy that was signed off by council 2 years ago, something like that. And so there's an hourly rate and sort of guidance all set out there for.
Is that the same for a blessing as well? We pay them for that?
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that I think you invited 2, but 5 turned up, so there's no limit, so we can just keep paying.
So the monitoring has been arranged by the project team since February with 2 of the iwi. But like I said, one of them actually has asked for another iwi to do that work instead. So that's the monitoring. But the turning up for the Karakia on the day, I think that those iwi were just coming to support the start of the project.
So they're not paid, they come and support it all.
So some of them will be reimbursed for the time to come that morning. So yes, so the hourly rate will apply for that. Plus the travel, which is the IRD, it's the usual IRD. Yeah.
And through the chair, we've obviously the overseas academy detail. And just to add, 20 years in public service, working all around New Zealand, nothing that we're doing here is different to anywhere else I've worked. Standard sort of rates expected and standard protocols. So
I think
that's fine.
I think for us, or for me, certainly I had no idea about it. We weren't invited. I don't know why we weren't invited. And then we get asked from the public, we can't give them answers. And it's a typical thing that's happened as community board for 3 years I've been on it. So that sort of stuff happens and I can't give an answer.
We don't know
That's
why.
why I sent them again.
We don't know why you weren't invited.
No one seems to be that's why we weren't invited.
They weren't invited either.
Yeah, so
So through
someone must know why we weren't invited.
yeah, like through the chair, there was an email that I sent that recommended the invite list. It did include the community board. It did include the 2 well-known associations in town, plus a few other people. Somewhere in the administration of that, it wasn't done. But there's a clear thread. We just didn't pick it up until the day.
Well, hopefully the staff can see our frustration is when we come to meetings and ask the questions, we can't answer them in public because we don't get an email about it, we don't get an invite, so it is frustrating. So I think that needs to be improved from the staff side of things moving forward into the next term. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
I'll move we move into excluded.
Thank you.
Stop the. You second the second.
Oh, yeah.
I'll second.
And I'll move we move out.
Yes.
Can you say second?
Thank you for the minute.
Not that talk about anyway.
That's right.
Just Kate has just sent me a message saying that planting of the.
Hang on, sorry.
Yes, the planting, Kate's just said, the planting of the base will be undertaken by contractors of Karakia, scheduled for the 29th of July with another 3,000 plants. It was decided to undertake this work. We decided not to undertake this work with volunteers due to health, safety risk of planting within the water. Existing plants seem to have all taken well and the basin is working as required.
That's good.
It's a little bit confusing. I accepted that, but this is a volunteer group coming in and getting paid to do it. What's the difference between the public doing it?
Well, I think the planting that was undertaken earlier was just around the edges.
Yes.
We went there and did that.
Quite deep.
Yeah.
It's just having a group with.
It's not that deep, but it's certainly up to your thighs.
I think it's a more organised group.
In the deepest place.
Can do it.
Yeah, I just didn't think there was any qualifications difference.